Okay, everybody, so by now you have a working Shiny app. Everything is running locally on your machine. And so the question is, how do you deploy this app? How do you share it with your users? The idea behind developing a Shiny app is that it's going to be a web-based interactive application so that your user can access it via the web. So there are a few ways of deploying your app to the web using our Shiny. We're just going to talk about one of them because it's the easiest starting out, and that is how to publish your app to shinyapps.io. I also want to alert you to the fact that there's a version of Shiny in Python called Shiny Live where you don't have to host it, where your user's browser can run all the code, but that has some capacity limitations. Your app can only be a certain size, and B, it's not available for our Shiny yet. So we're going to be working with shinyapps.io. We're also going to talk about how to share your app with other collaborators, how to share your code specifically. You could email it to them as a compressed file, as a zip file, or you can also share your code via GitHub. And then the last thing we're going to cover in this lesson is how to record your environment so that when you have updated packages for a newer app or a newer project, it doesn't break your older app. Because oftentimes when you go back to work on an old application, it can break if you have newer versions of the packages installed that were not available when you first coded up your app. So we'll talk about how to preserve your environment so that you can go back and work on the app, or that anybody can go back and reproduce your work using the versions of the packages that you use to develop the app yourself. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to go to shinyapps.io and you're going to sign up for a free account. I've already done that, but you can go through the process of doing that. And you shouldn't need more than the free version for the project for this course, but if you want to sign up for a more expensive subscription or package, you're free to do that as well. And then you're going to go and log in once you have your account. And you're going to go to your dashboard, and it's going to look, well, let me go ahead and log in here. And when you log in, it's going to look something like this, except you won't have any applications. The part you're going to be concerned about initially is you want to go to account and you want to go to tokens, all right? And you won't have any tokens set up here, but so you want to add a token. And then once you have a token, you want to hit show token, and then you want to hit show secret. I'm not going to do that, but you want to press show secret and then copy to clipboard, okay? And once you have your token copied to your clipboard, you can go over to RStudio, and here I have the code for the Fred line chart app that we developed earlier in the course. But what you want to do from here is you want to go to Tools, you want to go to Global Options, you want to go to Publishing, you want to hit Connect. You want to select then shinyapps.io. Okay, and then from here what you want to do is you want to copy what you have on the clipboard into this field here and hit Connect Account. And that should set you up to publish your app on shinyapps.io. Okay, I'm not going to do that here because I've already done that. I'm just going to cancel out of this. And then when you come back here, then you should see a little icon that says publish the application or document. So you want to press that, and then from there you want to select which files you want to publish. And you may not need all of the files in your folder. Like if you have some sort of code here that you use to wrangle your data that's not really being used by your app.r file or other ancillary files, you don't need to upload that. You just need to make sure that you have the app.r file, any helper files, or if you have some data that the app is going to use in a CSV file, you want to upload that as well. Then you're going to select a title for your app, and you're going to hit publish, and that should publish the app to shinyapps.io. All right. I'm not going to do that here because I've already published this application. So I'm just going to hit cancel here, and I'm going to go back to shinyapps.io, and if I go to my dashboard, then you'll see the Fred app here that I published earlier. It's currently sleeping because nobody's used it recently, but if you click on that, then you should be able to see, you know, the application usage and all that type of thing. All right, and then you can click on the URL, and then you'll see the URL for your app, and then if you click on that, it should display the app, and that's how you know you're good to go. All right, so this is the Fred Data app that we developed earlier in the course, okay, and everything's working, etc., etc. Okay, so from here, what you're going to do is you're going to copy this URL, and you can share it with the course in the Discord, or if you're feeling shy, you can just direct message me in Discord with this, and then the link to your video, if you're making a video to, you know, tell people about your app. All right. Okay. So next thing I want to talk about is how do you share your code with your collaborators. One idea is you can just zip the project file that you've been working in. So if we go back to our Fred app, right? So this file here for the Fred app, you could just zip that and you could send that to a collaborator via email, and if they have Shiny installed on their machine, and assuming you're all working with the same versions of the packages that you have installed and it's all very recent, they should be able to just run it. Okay, so that's one option. They can just hit run app, or they can use the run app function to run the app on their machine. Another option is to share your code via GitHub. So you should have some familiarity with this because we've been doing it throughout the course. We've been using GitHub Classroom. But what if you want to feature the app as one of the repositories in your GitHub profile? So let me go ahead and go back to my web browser here. And here I'm in my GitHub account. I'm at my GitHub profile, github.com/etitlemon. I can click on repositories here, or I can go to this icon with my picture and my username, and I can select on my repositories, and then from there, if I want to create a new repo, I just hit new, and then I can name my repo whatever I want. So I'll just put Fred R app, right, for this app that we've already developed, and I can put an optional description here. I'm going to skip that for now, and I'm going to hit create repository. And then this part should look familiar to you. So this is the URL for the repo that you just created. So you just copy this, and then you go back to RStudio. And now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create, although we already have a project folder for this, if you want to share it on GitHub, I think the easiest way is just to create a new repo like we just did and transfer everything over to that repo, right? So from here, you would just hit new project, and it's going to close out of the old one. Then you select version control, then Git, and then your repository URL, create project. Okay, and so from here what we want to do is we want to transfer our files from the old project, the essential files from the old project folder into this one. So we can navigate here to the old project folder. So the old one is Fred app, the new one is Fred R app, right? So Fred R app doesn't have the essential files in it, this one does. So what we want to do now is we want to transfer these files to the new folder. And we're just going to do this one at a time because we only have 2 files here, but if we had a large number of files, we want to open up File Explorer or Finder and transfer them that way. But since we only have 2 files, we can copy them. And so our destination is going to be this new Fred at our app folder. So let's go ahead and copy to there. And we're going to save. And we're going to do the same thing with this one. Copy to. And again, our destination is going to be here, the Fred R app folder. Let's save. Okay. And if we were to try, let's just go ahead and try for a second to copy 2 of them, then we're going to get an error that says, please select a single file or folder to copy. So that's why we have to do it one at a time. Okay, so that's done. So now we have our files. Let's go back to the Fred R app folder. Now we have the relevant files there. We're in the right project, right? And now if we go to our Git tab here, because it's a version control project, we see the updated files here. Okay, and so from here, what we can do is we can go ahead and stage these, and then commit them, and then we can have a commit message, initial commit for Fred line app. And then we'll hit commit. Okay, it looks like that worked. And should be able to push now. All right, and now we've pushed the changes. And let's go ahead and look back in our repo here. And now we see that our changes have appeared in the GitHub repo, and so now our files are public. So if we want to share these, we now have this as a repo on our in our GitHub profile that we can refer people to who want to see the code for our app. Okay. Okay. So the last thing I want to cover here is how to preserve your environment, or how to record your environment, so the next time you go back and you have updated versions of the packages, it doesn't break the code for this app. Okay, so to do this, we're going to use a package called Renv. Okay, I think that's how it's pronounced, Renv, R-E-N-V. And it's pretty simple once you have the package installed. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to type renv : init to initialize renv in this repo. And here it's going to go through your packages and discover all the dependencies. And then essentially what it's going to do is it's going to create a private library for this project, right? That is like a standalone library, so that if you update packages for other projects, it's not going to affect the versions of the packages in this project. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so now you can see it's created this renv.lock file and this renv folder. And if you click on the folder, you see here this private library that I was talking about here. And then it tells you that it was created in R4.3, version 4.3. And then if you click on this folder, then it tells you all of the packages and dependencies that were used to create your app, many of which you're probably not even aware of. All right. So then what you do is, if you want to continue to develop the app, then you can do that. And then, but once this is initialized, the next time that you want to update it and you want to, update this private library, what you would type is rn : snapshot, okay? And that will just give you a list of all of the packages and the versions, and it's not going to do it now because it's already up to date, but say you were to develop it further, then it would give you the same, it would do the same thing, and it would ask you, is that okay? Are these the versions of the packages that you want to preserve, yes or no? And then you would hit yes, assuming you're okay with everything, and then would it update, you know, this private library for you. And then if you come back to the app later on and you update something and it breaks your code, then you can use renv : restore, and it'll restore everything back to the previous version of the private library that worked. Okay, so pretty cool package if you're going to be developing apps, or actually for just about any project that you're working on. This could be useful if you're going to be using it over time, because when packages update, it does break stuff. Okay, so that's all there is for this lesson. You should have a pretty good idea of how to publish your app on shinyapps.io, how to share your code with collaborators via email or on GitHub, and how to preserve your R environment should you want to continue to develop this app or other apps after this course. Good luck with your project.